Alright, welcome everybody to this video. This is a video about modification I've done, which is to add a power supply to Theatre of Magic off of the service port. The reason I did this was because I got this Theatre of Magic machine, and then when I got it home, it would not stay on for more than 40 minutes without blowing a fuse. So I found a couple of spotlights that were poorly added to the machine, literally with electrical tape. So I got rid of those. And then the machine would only stay on for about 2.5 hours before it blew that same fuse. And what I found out was if I unplugged this topper, then it stayed on all day and it was fine. So that's the reason that I wanted to add a power supply, is so that I could power the topper. And then I also have the Pinball Life Tiger Saw mod and lighted marquee mirror mod on here. And I wanted to run them off the power supply as well. So I also wanted the power supply to work off the service port, but only be on when the machine is on. So all those things were accomplished, and this video is to show the actual wiring level of what it took to get that done behind it. Just a disclaimer, I am a financial planner, so none of my soldering work is good, none of my anything is good, but somebody that I talked to along the way here requested that I make a video, and they know what they're doing, so I'm making a video. I'm not doing any video editing here, so I even wrote out a little script, and I'll try to make this as concise as possible, but here we go. So that was overview of the initial problem, and now we move on to how we got this done. So, get my camera friend off his stand here. Now, here's what we got, alright? We got the service port, which on Theatre of Magic, and also I noticed on Bally World Cup Soccer, you need an IEC to NEMA adapter. Okay, so that's the first part in here for, this is not easy. Okay, there we go. That's the first part in here. That was a $2 component, is this first adapter cable here that ends at my fingers. So that was $2. Then it goes to this Power Switch Tail 2. This thing was like $26. I got it for normally open. And basically what happens is these guys right here, these positive and negative wires, are being run from a power tap board. In fact, the one that was initially meant to power the topper. So this switch requires between 3 volts and 12 volts to energize and allow service port power to flow through to everything else. So you'll notice the power supply is not on right now, which is good. So that's that. Then we get into the power switch is plugged into an AC power cord, which is wired to the power supply. Now this, in the videos I watched, maybe this didn't have as much good detail as I wanted, so, here you can just really see. Oh geez, I've been zoomed in, sorry. Here you can just really see that, that the AC cord is wired to the power supply down there on the bottom, and then up top I have the power supply 12 volt, as well as 5 volt going to an 8-way splitter board right there. So that is going to that bottom port on the 8-way splitter board, and then I'm only using 2 of those at the moment. That left one there goes to the topper. The right one is what runs the Tiger Saw mod and the lighted marquee. So, geez, actually that's kind of all the wiring. So like, I'll of course put links in the video to the PowerTail Switch, as well as to the power supply that I used. But then for right this moment, I will just show you that when what happens is I'm going to flick the power button on the machine. Bang! Power supply comes on because the power tail switch has been energized. And that leads me to the one thing I would do differently, which is you can actually contact them and order a switch that requires a much lower voltage to actuate it. So I won't go further into that, but like I wanted to just clip off a GI light, but that doesn't generate anywhere near the 3 volt to 12 volt range. So in the end, I kind of just gave up on being too fancy, and I said, hey, I'll just use the power tap board for the topper, because that'll energize the switch, and hey, still kind of goal accomplished. So the absolute best thing that came out of this is these color changing birdies. So these lights were never here before because with the PowerTail board that this comes with, it only feeds out 12 volts. Well, basically because I didn't know any better, I fed it 12 volts and 5 volts because I saw it had wires for 12 volt and 5 volts. So that's about the best I can explain there. But before you get too excited, it's $275 topper. So I don't know. I'll leave that at that for the moment. So obviously I got to do some actual mounting here of stuff, but right now you can shake her enough to shake her when you're playing, and everything's all right. So happy enough with that. Now the camera goes back in because what I should show next is what I did in the back box to get this done. This is actually very, very little amount of stuff. Everything does still, like open and close properly. I've still gotta make some wiring just a little bit nicer and flusher and more bundled, but it does work for now. And so then inside the machine, and I might as well turn it off because I'm getting a little nervous. And then inside the machine, here's what I did to make this happen. So, excuse me. Let's see what I'm doing on the script here. Yeah, pretty much doing good. So, where do I start? Here is the PowerTail board that's meant to go to the topper. And what I done is I used the connector that I bought to go from this little PowerTail board to the PowerTail Switch to energize it, and then I had to lengthen some wires or whatever. But if you're all watching this video, you know how to do stuff like that, I would imagine. Now, as far as the Tiger Saw mod, the way that worked is the 12 volt positive for that used to be an alligator clip on TP1, and then that board had a ground wire going to this. So all I had to do, after several rounds of trial and error, and some amazing help from the incredible Nata Van Reed, is I cut off the alligator clip on TP1, and I simply ran that positive to the power splitter board to go into a 12 volt. And then I ran an additional wire from the grounded part here. I'm sorry that it's red, even though it functions as a ground wire as a negative. And then I ran additional wire from that to the negative terminal on the power splitter. So that's it. Again, I'm determined not to video edit here, so normally I would stop this video and then start a new one with some game footage, but I'm just not going to do that here, so sorry about that. So yeah, that's adding a power supply to Theatre of Magic off the service port, IEC to NEMA connector. It's only on when the machine's on, even though it's service port. That unlocks new lights on this topper because the factory PowerTail board does not give it 5 volts. And then even the power saw mod and the lighted marquee, the $300 Pinball Life mod. I called them and asked them how to set it up off an external power supply. They told me they didn't know because they paid someone $90 an hour to engineer the circuit. So for whatever that's worth, this financial planner figured it out with some help from you all on the internet. So that's my Theatre of Magic video. I could go on and on, believe me, but I won't. And then basically my next steps on this machine are I bought a flipper rebuild kit and new coils, even though they're not needed at all. Basically I just did that because I noticed this has the wrong end to stroke switches on here. And then, hey, why not have a spare flipper kit for both of these two stupid pinball machines right here? Alright, so that's the end of the video. I was hoping for 4 or 5 minutes, but now it's 10. But make it out of what you will. Happy pinballing, everybody, and thanks for watching.